Those millions, Sam Silverstein was starting successful businesses way back in college. Since then, he's generated more than $100 million in sales. He's helped 60,000 people who subscribe to his newsletter make millions, but you're getting all the knowledge and experience.
Accountability is the highest form of leadership because accountability is a commitment between people. It's a commitment from the leader to those people around them first, and then an inspired commitment in return.
Don't make or accept excuses. Don't make excuses when you fail, and definitely don't accept them from others either.
That's what leadership is. It's taking the responsibility for the people you lead. You have the ability to impact their life beyond a surface level.
Accountability in a culture inspires creativity and innovation and openness to change. And when organizations are creative, innovative, and they're willing to change, they leave the competition behind.
I want to share a view of accountability that is different from probably anything you've ever heard.
A great set of values will lead to a great organizational culture.
Oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. 10 books later and a whole bunch of other stuff is passed through, but my focus is on accountability because what I discovered is that accountability is the foundation for becoming the best that we can become, both individually but also as an organization.
The rules of business haven't changed. It's the field that we're playing on that has changed. Now more than ever, leadership needs to get it right because leadership is what brings us through tough times. And accountability is the characteristic that will create sustainability today and enable acceleration as we move forward tomorrow.
And we are live.
Sam, how are you doing today, man?
I'm amazing, Victor. It's great to be here with you.
Accountability is not a way of doing. Accountability is a way of thinking, and specifically, it's how we think about people. I hate it when a leader says, this isn't personal, this is business. Every interaction between human beings is personal.
Yes, it's relationships.
This is what excellence looks like for me, and we need to define that.
Once you identify the values that you believe make up who you are, and a lot of times people will say, well, is that the goal or is that where I'm at? No, it's where you're at. If it's a goal, it's not a value. If you're not living it, it's not a value.
This is the foundation for just totally changing the way we think. Remember, when you change the way you think, you change what you do. When we answer these questions, when we have very concrete answers, and almost to the degree that, it needs to be in writing, then everything changes.
That's it.
We're going to have live Q&A sessions every week. We're going to have breakout mastermind sessions, and I'm going to be your partner in all of it. You get me for 8 weeks to coach you through this entire process. We help organizations step through creating their values, and there's very specific things that values need to connect to. You're going to have a great, robust, complete set of values.
Love that. All right. With risk comes reward. Yes. Who are you accountable to? Your team. Absolutely. The success model. Good leaders always turn to the people they know that will have the right answer, right? They affect your life beyond the surface level. Along the way, you will discover there's some few bonuses that I've planted in there for you that I think will bring a lot of excitement. I'll see you on the inside.
Well, hello and welcome. It's so exciting to have you here. And it's just a glorious day. I hope that you enjoyed our new countdown timer. And I want to say a big thank you to Chris Stone, who created that. And if you need some creative work done, you get in touch with me so I can put you in touch with Chris, because he really is an amazing human being and very insightful. So glad you're here today. I know a bunch of you like to watch live, and I love having you here live because that way you can ask questions and we can create a dialogue. And that takes what we're doing and makes it even more valuable. That dialogue takes it deeper, because my ultimate goal is to be able to help you apply this in your life and for your business and in your community. And so that dialogue's important. But a lot of you, you're just not able to be here when we go live. So you catch the recording and you're able to catch it later. And I love that too. Just know that when you leave comments, I respond to all comments. So whether you're on here live or whether you're with me later on, I'm going to get to your comments. I'm going to respond, because my goal is to help you build accountability in your life, build accountability in your organization, because together we are going to build a more accountable world. And look, it's great. Chris is in the house. I'm pulling this up here so you can see his picture. Great guy out of Atlanta, Georgia. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Okay, so today I want to talk to you about being an accountable leader. And I want to look at this from a few aspects. I want to talk to you about us as individuals becoming accountable leaders. And then I also want to talk to you about building accountable leaders in your organization, because these are both two critical facets of building a more successful, a more significant life, a more significant organization, and ultimately more significant in the community you live in, and on a broader level in the world that we all live in. So, what is accountability? Accountability is keeping your commitments to people, and a commitment is no matter what. So, and you that have been with me for a long time, you know how I feel about this. This is really critical. But the one thing that we need to make sure that we delineate between is it's not just any commitment. It's not just any commitment, because there's tactical commitments and there's relational commitments. And so accountability is always going to be built through relational commitments. Telling me you're going to get the report done by tomorrow afternoon, you're going to show up at 3:00, you're going to clean out the garage. Those are all tactical commitments. It's doing stuff. Needs to be done. It's important. That's great. That stuff goes towards productivity. It's important. But relational commitments go towards the connective tissue between you and me. It goes towards the connective tissue between you and the people that you work with. And when you make and keep those 10 relational commitments that my organization has identified that defines accountability, then what happens is you're building accountability individually, and then you're inspiring those people around you to choose to be accountable. And so that's the way that it works. So when we look at personal accountability, it starts at home. It starts with us. And it starts with understanding what those 10 commitments are. And for those of you who have taken the personal accountability assessment, that's something that's great to review from time to time. Go back and take it again, see if your scores change. If you haven't taken our free accountability assessment, it's real simple. Go to amiaccountable.com, amiaccountable.com, and take that assessment, and you'll get a report, and you will see what you will see. I'm gonna put it in the notes. amiaccountable.com. You will see how you're doing in those 10 specific areas. Some of those areas are areas like a commitment to the values. So do you have a set of values individually? in our pivot course, we take you through that and help you create an amazing set of values. So when you look at your own individual accountability, do you have a set of values? And then when you look at your organization, does your organization have a set of values? And it's not, do you have the values, meaning on paper? The real question is, are you living the values? Are they showing up in your life? Are they producing for you? Because if they're not showing up, they're not your values. And if they're not producing for you, then I would challenge you to step back and say, well, maybe I don't have the right set of values, because sometimes we have to evaluate what those values are and determine if we have a complete set of values. And that's important to do. So another one of the commitments, the relational commitments, is the commitment to it's all of us, which goes like this. It says, if you succeed, I succeed. If you fail, I fail. That's a leader's commitment. And, a lot of leaders, they'll state it the other way around, and they're wrong. They don't get it. And it's about the people. As a leader, we are always responsible for the safety, the success, of the people that we lead. That's our responsibility as a leader. That's what leadership is. And until we accept that responsibility, we're not going to grow and become accountable leaders. So if we're going to be an accountable leader, we need to first understand what these 10 relational commitments are. Take that assessment, and that'll put you on that road if you haven't already read one of my books. If you want one of the books to get, I might suggest starting with I Am Accountable, because that goes into those 10 commitments and looks at them both individually and organizationally. Then, once we understand what these commitments are, we need to also understand that the tactical commitments are spoken. Relational commitments, for the most part, are never spoken. The accountable leader makes the commitment through their actions. Now, I don't know where you might have grown up, and I don't know what your parents told you, but I got to tell you, my father, if he told me once, he told me 57,536 times, actions speak louder than words. And I'm assuming you probably heard that also. And so it's our actions that show that we're committed to the people around us. It's our actions that show we're committed to those relational commitments that define us as an accountable leader. And so that's really important that we see it through our actions. Okay, so the accountable leader creates a culture that inspires and prioritizes accountability. We have been working, to be an accountable leader, we're working to master these relational commitments individually, but now we have to create this environment that inspires others around us to live those values. And we do that by first taking the time to define the values of our culture. And then we have to model that, which is what we've been talking about. It has to be in everything that we do. We teach the values to the people around us. We protect the culture by not allowing anyone to stay in that culture who's not living the values, and we celebrate that culture. And in doing so, we are being accountable to our people, and we are creating this culture that inspires accountability in them. That's how it gets there. You cannot walk into someone's office and say, you will be accountable. I'm going to hold you accountable. I mean, you can do that, but it's not going to get you anywhere. Holding someone accountable is like putting a gun to their head. Nobody wants to be held accountable. But you know what? If you help me be accountable, that's going to inspire me. When I see that you're accountable to me through your actions, when I see that you want me to succeed through your actions, then what happens is you're inspiring me to want to be my best, to want to be accountable. That's the way that it works. So you grow in accountability individually. You create this environment, this culture that helps other people want to be accountable. And the accountable leader is always preparing for the tough times by building accountability in their lives and in the lives around them during the good times. And here's something we've noticed with our clients is during this pandemic, the ones that have been working hard on their culture, they use They use the accountability assessment that we've created to help them identify strengths and weaknesses of accountability in their culture. They've been working to shore up their culture. Their culture is strong. When they hit this pandemic, what's happened is they have been moving much quicker through. They have been able to better adjust to a workforce that is not just diverse, but diverse geographically, working from home. And the adjustments have come quicker. Everyone has come together. It's been absolutely amazing to watch this. And the organizations where they've been struggling in their culture, where there's weaknesses in their culture, this is when those weaknesses show. You know, it's like stress brings those cracks, those fractures to the surface. And, you know, as a runner, a longtime runner and marathon runner, you know, when a runner gets a stress fracture, well, you got to stop. You got to shut it down. You got to fix it. If you've been working on it and making sure you don't have those fractures, then you don't have to shut down. You can just go forward with speed. So if things are going great, keep going. But if you've got some of these fractures, we got to stop and we got to fix them. And the way to do that is through the organizational assessment that we can talk about sometime. All right. So why does all this matter? Why does all this matter? There was a Harvard study that I just read probably about an hour ago, and it talked about, should we be looking for superstars, or should we be focusing on getting rid of toxic employees? Now, I personally, I'm going to take a different tack, but here's what they pointed out. If you add a superstar to your organization, it's going to save the average company $5,303. Now, I don't know how they calculated this, but let's just take it all in context. Finding a superstar, what they call a top 1% employee, will save the company $5,303. But avoiding a toxic employee, and they define that as a worker that engages in behavior harmful to the organization, including either its property or people. You know, that's someone with a negative attitude. That's toxic. If you avoid one of those people, you will save the company $12,489. In other words, it's almost 2.5 times more valuable to make sure that you avoid or eliminate a toxic employee rather than getting a top 1%er, a superstar. Now, here's what I know to be true. When you create a culture in an organization and you do not allow these toxic employees to stay in the organization, then what happens is you naturally attract more superstars, and they want to stay because you're creating this environment that people want to be. And so this is why ascending to being an accountable leader, not just individually, but in your organization, and developing accountable leaders in your organization, leaders that make and keep these commitments. What happens then is you eliminate those people who would bring a toxic attitude to your culture, and you attract those people who naturally want to be their best, want to be in this environment, and want to produce for you. Okay, we've got, let's see, Eliz. Oh, Eliz is in the house. Look at this. You are right. Tactical accountability is about productivity. Yeah, that's just tactics. That's just getting stuff done. It's important, but ultimately accountability is between people. You're responsible for things. You're accountable to people. It's always great to see you, Liz. Thanks for joining us today. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Now would be a great time to post them and I can respond to them. Otherwise, what's going to happen is if you're watching this in the recording, then for sure, just leave your comments, leave any questions, leave any topics that you want me to address on future live streams. I've been doing the live stream every other Wednesday, 2:00 Central Time. Is that working for you? Do you want to see them more often? Do you want to see them less often? Put it in the comments. Let me know so that I can respond to what your specific needs are. My goal is to help you be an accountable leader. Remember, everything rises and falls on leadership. And accountability is the highest form of leadership. Have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you next time.